Most people who collect things share one common trait. It doesn't matter what kind of thing you collect, be it books, stamps, or even photographs. There are always certain special things amongst the rest that remind you of something. They serve as a physical representation of another point in time that, for one reason or another, means quite a lot to you.
Stay out of my way! I'm about to perform evil!
That said, look at my copy of Run Saber. The sticker on the back says PNT. Before they moved up to California, I used to get all my games from a local store called Level Up. I still do through online ordering. What this sticker means is I've been a loyal customer of theirs so long that I've been buying from them since they were called Play and Trade. How's that for being a little piece of history? Let's see, how to describe Run Saber. Well, think of it like a cross between Strider and Contra, with a little bit of Metroid for good measure. You've got an upgradable sword that covers half the screen, that's Strider, tons of enemies in set-piece moments, a la Contra, and there's even a little bit of Ninja Gaiden here. And then there's... See? I told you this was Metroid! After the world is overrun by pollution, a scientist comes up with a chemical that can supposedly reverse the effects. However, once launched into the atmosphere, it works perfectly. Peace is restored, the planet is back to normal, and you win. Game over. No, it turns out it only makes things worse. The chemical starts mutating everyone into soldiers for the scientist's personal army, which he plans on using to, guess what, take over the world.
Oh, there's a big surprise!
Now, the only hope for humanity is a new super weapon called Project Saber. However, one of the Sabers malfunctions and escapes onto Earth before it's completed. So it's up to the other two, Alo and Sua, don't quote me on those exact pronunciations, to save all of humanity. Can you say recurring boss battle? The end result is an action-packed hack-and-slash platformer, made complete with tons of enemies and kick-ass music. Just take a listen real quick. Yeah, that's the stuff. But what's this sound clip that chimes in whenever you defeat a tough enemy? Sounds like some announcer is saying, "Defeated." I don't know why, but I really like that little soundbite. I guess it's just kind of satisfying getting audio confirmation of how awesome you are. Unreal Tournament was proof of that. There's some decent enemy variety here, but what really impressed me was the absolute overload of bosses. I think this is the most bosses I've ever seen in a single game outside the RPG genre. It's just too bad then that they aren't all designed that perfectly. In fact, if you know what you're doing, some of these guys are an absolute joke. If I had to make one major complaint about Run Saber, it would be the difficulty. I breezed through the whole thing on my first attempt, and that was on normal. I can't even imagine what easy is like. Granted, you're a better man than I if you can beat this in one continue, but the fact that you start off right where you were, even if you do use one, sucks a lot of challenge out of the experience. Sadly, this is more of a power-through-it type of game than a you need actual skill to beat it kind, but at least it all looks impressive. The set pieces are some of the most memorable moments of the game. Whether you're being chased by a giant robot, playing chicken with a hawk, getting shot at by a missile, or... Whoa, hey, ease up on the loops, pal. I'm trying to save your life out here. Is this pilot 7 Shades of Wasted, or what?
This is your captain speaking. Well, we're having fun flying this airplane. Whoa! We apologize for any turbulence you may be experiencing. We are currently flying at 4,000 feet. We will be arriving at your destination shortly. Hey, Hawaii is kind of shaped like a kidney, right?
Now, quick question. How do you make any game infinitely better? 2 words. Local multiplayer. And Run Saber answers that call admirably. That's right, both the Master of Fire and the Mistress of Ice can beat down some mutants together. But there's one thing I find weird about this mode. You have different life stocks, but you share continues. You don't have to be quite as much of a sheep herder as you do in, say, Contra or Return to Dreamland, but if you have an inexperienced player eating all your credits, you're still kind of screwed, because eventually you're going to make a mistake. Or two. And speaking of mistakes, I'm kind of bummed you never get to play as that third Saber. He's got a ranged attack, for crying out loud. He's not even unlockable, I checked. The only code in this game is a level select cheat, which I can't get to work for some arbitrary reason. If you absolutely have to customize your experience, though, do this. Pause the game, hit select, and oh my god, costumes! Yup, if you so desire, you can switch from Ice Queen Sua to Fiery Sua, and even Pretty Pink Princess Sua right on the fly. This is the kind of thing you'd have to pay good money for in today's games, but here, it's 100% free. God, those are simpler times. Summed up, Run Saber is a pretty good action game. It just lacks any kind of replay value, and although it has the best parts of other games, it never truly strikes a style all its own. Still, for $5, you really can't go wrong. Oh, and you gotta hear the announcer one more time. That's awesome.